So last week we talked about thesis statements and the importance of intro paragraphs. We talked about conclusions. We talked about works cited. Now we're actually going to talk about the paragraph itself as well as transitions. So transitions are so essential, and they're actually what makes something read in a coherent fashion. So please be so kind as to click here where it says paragraphs and transitions. And we're going to talk about that. I actually have it open already. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. All right. So it says paragraphs and writing smooth transitions. It's a cool picture, huh? So paragraph, we know it as a collection of related sentences dealing with a single topic. And it's kind of like a, well, duh type of thing, right? But truly it's important to remember this, this part, that we need to remember that there's a topic within that paragraph. Many times we want to jam in just so many topics and subjects into a single paragraph, and it just becomes really messy and difficult to follow. So it's a helpful reminder. That's why we have this little reminder, a tip: keep one idea to one paragraph. It's a way to keep things concise and organized. Within a paragraph, with unity, like we just said in the previous slide, try to have a single focus. If you have too much going on in too little of a space, then it's very difficult to follow. So with coherence, we'll talk about bridges, right? Which are the transitions. So build bridges throughout paragraph, and have a topic sentence and be clear what your topic sentence is. So when we say a topic sentence, if the thesis is the central idea for the whole paper, then the topic sentence is the central idea for the paragraph. So the actual development of the paragraph, once you have your topic sentence down, here's some ideas of things you can do. You can use examples and illustrations, cite data, examine testimony, use an anecdote or story, define the terms, compare and contrast. With comparison, usually it's we talk about similarities, and when we contrast, mostly differences. So consider similarities and differences, evaluate causes and reasons, examine effects and consequences, analyze the topic, describe the topic, also answer the so what, right? Answer the implications, the significance of the topic. There's the other one, offer a chronology. So these are just some ideas for what you can do in a paragraph. Sometimes I know we get stuck and we're like, oh, what else can I do? I've said everything I can, but here's just a little helpful reminder. So you start a new paragraph when either you begin a new idea or point, or to contrast information or ideas, or when your readers need a pause. And then obviously when you're ending your intro or starting your conclusion. So the paragraph in itself is like the brand new, it's a new section. So you need to feel that there's a shift of some sort. Now we get into the bridge itself. So what's a transition? Without transitions, it's just very random and all over the place. And transition is what gives a piece of writing coherence. So look, transitions are words or phrases that establish logical connections between sentences, paragraphs, and sections of your essays. Hence this figure here, he's connecting and bridging the gap here, quite literally. So if we talk about transitions between paragraphs, they'll highlight the relationship that already exists between two paragraphs by summarizing the previous paragraphs and suggesting something that will be part of the content in the paragraph that follows. Okay, So the way I like to think about it, because it's a bridge, you need to be explicit. You need to clearly express the point of commonality from one topic to the next. And actually, in this week's module, you're going to have an opportunity to create such a transition, to bridge such a gap. So again, you need to make it clear what is the correlation between the one topic, in this instance of one paragraph, and the topic of the next. So you need to express that clearly, be explicit. The transitions between sentences, it says transitions within paragraphs act as cues by helping readers to anticipate what is coming before they read it. They can show the relationship between the idea in one sentence and the idea in the next. So even within sentences, it's important that you make it clear what the connection is between one idea and the next. Because oftentimes we think we're doing this, but we're not, and that's why it comes off as just disjointed and all over the place. So it says, think of a transition sentence as a bridge that goes from one place to another. If the bridge is too short or not properly constructed, it can be a jarring experience. And the same goes for writing. So without the necessary transitions, then it's very jarring. It's like, what's happening? This is so random and everywhere. And that's why sometimes you'll get feedback from your instructors that says, this is a choppy transition. So how do transitions help the writer? They help you carry over a thought from one sentence to another, from one idea to another, or from one paragraph to another with words or phrases. Transitional devices link your sentences and paragraphs together smoothly. So transitions, my friends, are so important. They add that cohesion between ideas, between topics. How do they help the reader? They act as cues that help the reader to interpret ideas in the way that you as a writer want them to understand. So this is essential because oftentimes there's a disconnect between our intention as a writer and then the perception that the reader gets from our actual text. So in other words, there are times when what we mean doesn't come off accurately for the reader. So they'll interpret it one way, but we mean it another. And a lot of times, if we're missing transitions and we're leaving far too many blanks and implicit things that are unexpressed, if we're not making the connections, then the reader can read things even differently than how you meant it, and might even become confused. So here's a little reminder. So if you'll need transitions if you've gotten this feedback like choppy, jumpy, abrupt, or something like commenting on the lack of flow, or how is this related? Or maybe your readers tell you that they've had trouble following your organization or train of thought. Or maybe you tend to write the way you think, and your brain often jumps from one idea to another pretty quickly. So if you're kind of a scatterbrain in your thoughts, and that is reflected in your writing. So transitions are actually essential in ameliorating this. Here's another one. If you write your paper in several discrete chunks and then pasted them together. So if you just ad hoc put together sections without ensuring that there's cohesion, then it's jarring, just like we saw mentioned in a previous slide. So this is cool. There's some helpful phrases that you can use for your transitions. One of the central things to consider is, what is it that you're trying to do through that transition? Are you wanting to compare and contrast? Are you wanting to add something? And here's some phrases that you can use, so take a look at this. If you want to offer an example, there's some phrases you can use here. If you want to show exception, there's some phrases. And check this out. So these two examples are actually missing transitions. And we can take a look back at the list of the previous slides to help us out. So check this out. Look at the first one. It says, I have 7 pairs of red shoes. I don't have any purple shoes. I do not need to buy more shoes. There's no money in the bank. So you might say something like, you might fix it to say something like this. I have 7 pairs of red shoes. Let me actually go ahead and type that up. Oop. All right. Let's go ahead and type that up here. I have 7 pairs of red shoes. You might say something like, therefore, I do not have any purple shoes. I do not need to buy more shoes. You might say something like, because of my vast shoe collection, I do not need to buy more shoes. Look at this. There's no money in the bank. So I have 7 pairs of red shoes. Therefore, I do not have any purple shoes. Because of my vast shoe collection, I do not need to buy more shoes. Also, we might say, besides, there is no money in my bank account. It seems like that's something that they wanted to say there. I have 7 pairs of red shoes. Therefore, I do not have any purple shoes. Because of my vast shoe collection, I do not need to buy more shoes. Besides, there's no money in my bank account. So, you see how there's more cohesion this way? Check this out. Example 2. It says, going back to college will be difficult. I have not been in school for over 10 years. I am married with 4 children. I will try my best to balance work, family, and school. So it's not that these are bad or it's that these are wrong. It's just that with the help of transitional words and phrases, they can become all the more smooth. So check this out. Let's go ahead and actually delete this. Going back to college will be difficult. And you might say something like, this is because I have not been in school for over 10 years. So notice here when we say this is because, I'm making a direct link and reference to the previous statement, thus creating a bridge, right? Which is what we're aiming to do. So going back to college will be difficult. This is because I have not been in school for over 10 years. You might say something like, additionally, I am married with 4 children. And then you might say something like, however, I will try my best to balance work, family, and school. So again, it's not that this was wrong or bad. It's just that with the help of transitional phrases and words, then it becomes that much cleaner sounding. Listen, going back to college will be difficult. This is because I have not been in school for over 10 years. Additionally, I am married with 4 children. However, I will try my best to balance work, family, and school. So those little changes do make a difference. And I actually have a fun opportunity for you to try your hand at this, at transitions. And if you go to next, here on the module, it's the next task after the PowerPoint. So check this out. It says this. The following set of paragraphs are missing a transition. In fact, they abruptly jump from one focus to another. So that's a big sign that a bridge slash transition is missing. If it's just like one topic and then another, and the reader leaves it like just implicit or implied as to how there's a connection, but they don't make a clear bridge. They don't clearly say what one topic, how one topic relates to the next. Then it's very choppy and abrupt. So again, the following set of paragraphs are missing a transition. In fact, they abruptly jump from one focus to another. Here's your task: write a transition sentence or sentences for these two paragraphs. So this is more practice of transitions between paragraphs. So remember to find a point of commonality to bridge the two paragraphs together. Okay. And FYI, you can either include the transition sentences in a paragraph either here, at the end of the first paragraph, or at the beginning of the first. The point is that you just have to make it clear what's the correlation between one topic and the next. Remember how in the PowerPoint we talked about how paragraphs can serve to delineate topics, right? Here's one topic, here's another, and of course they're related because an essay in itself is like a larger conversation where they're scaffolded, right? So one topic or subject feeds into the next because it's a conversation. So I've actually written these two paragraphs, and check this out. Video games are a popular pastime for people around the world. Their popularity exceeds many other leisure activities. In fact, many people even spend countless hours watching others stream themselves playing video games on a platform known as Twitch. These Twitch streamers can sometimes have millions of subscribers. And check out how it just abruptly jumps into this. In Fortnite, players combat against one another to be the last one standing. Matches usually last for about 20 minutes. One of the cool things about Fortnite is that players can select from different characters or skins. Some of these skins are more uncommon than others. So I want you to consider what's the specific topic or aspect of video games that is being talked about in this paragraph, and then all of a sudden it's just talking about Fortnite. So what's the point of commonality between this aspect of video games or subject, whatever it is that we're talking about, right? Hint, hint, hint. and then Fortnite. So then your task is to create transitional sentence or sentences. So transitions between paragraphs can be either one sentence, two sentences, three sentences. There really isn't a set amount of number, like a specific number that you need, but you have to be explicit as to what's the correlation between paragraphs. So it's your task to write that. How would you bridge together these two paragraphs? And remember to also reply to at least one classmate's post. And this one's due by Saturday by 11:59 p.m. So I hope all this helps. Maybe it's a reminder, maybe it's new, but it's so important. Another thing I want to point out as you're crafting your drafts is that formal essays should not have anything like any contractions like don't or won't or can't or gonna or wanna or don'tcha. It's not a chat room. So instead of don't, say do not. Instead of didn't, say did not. Instead of shouldn't, say should not. That's just because it's a formal essay. So that's just the last reminder.